Well, here I am starting the leading process. I removed the bead that was welded in on this seam, ground it down and welded it up, and then did some lead work over the top of this. And I found that there was lead, factory lead, across there, which I kind of had to be careful of, because this is the Eastwood lead-free solder, which isn't, it's not as bad as lead naturally because there's no lead in it, but it works just like the leaded stuff. You just really got to watch your temperature, otherwise it just falls off. There was a lot on the floor, but anyway, then you file it like you do regular lead, and you can also grind it, which I found to be a fairly simple way of doing it, because filing, it's one hell of a workout. Anyway, I got this seam done here, and along where I did the quarters all the way up along there. That's all leaded in. I'm still gonna have to put mud over it, just a nice little thin skim coat. And then I would also started over on this side. I haven't finished up this side, but I've gone down this quarter and down the side where it's all been welded. I got that leaded in and filed down. So the leading process is going pretty good. And also, if we go out here, I finally got my frame ready to go. I had the Fat Man Fabrication stub frame welded in. A buddy of mine, Scott, who's a damn good welder, we took it up to his place, and he has a big metal plate in the floor where we leveled out the frame, leveled it front to back, side to side, got it secured down to the metal plate with some risers that he had made. And then we took measurements 3 inches forward, well actually from where the forward body mount bolt is. I dropped a plumb bob down the side. Well, first I made a line across the center of that, then dropped a plumb bob down on each side, made marks down on the floor, and then also from the original radiator support mounting point, from that bolt hole, dropped the plumb bob down the middle of that, made a mark on the floor. Also took the measurement from the floor to here, to the top of that point, wrote that measurement down. And then I also went from the stock center point of the kingpins, because these cars had kingpins on them, and the center of the kingpin down to the floor on each side, drew lines across all this, wrote all my measurements down, and then took a measurement from the cross point of the forward mounting holes, forward body mount holes, forward to where the radiator support is, and then I compared it to the Fat Man unit and found the Fat Man unit 1/4 inch shorter than the stock unit, the stock measurement I had, which, well, is perfect because they require a 1/4 inch welding gap. So as it turned out, everything came out well. It wasn't from this hole here, the mounting hole was 3 inches forward of that mounting hole to the radiator support. That was the 1/4 inch anyway. But so cut off the stock frame, well, and put this up on there temporarily, clamped it up in place, did some measurements and some checking, and everything looked like it was going to be right on. So then he welded in the backing plates that go inside the frame, and we slid on the the stub frame, leveled it up, crossed ways, forward to back, all that, and tack welded the top two corners. Rechecked everything, all the marks, all the drop plumb bobs down, checked everything, the height of this here at the radiator support. Then he tacked the bottom corners, made sure everything was still where it was supposed to be, and then as he went along welding, he did a little here, a little there, back and forth. As he welded, we continued checking all the points, make sure nothing moves. As you know, it will move with heat. Once it was all welded up, we ground it all smooth, and then I got the Fat Man motor mounts kits and installed those. I had the motor and transmission installed. I had the cross member in. I installed the engine and transmission. Also installed the rack and pinions, because this way I made sure I had plenty of clearance, and it clears by about 3/8 to a ½ inch, maybe a little less, not much less, once everything's all bolted down tight. But anyway, made sure everything's going to clear. Welded up the mounts here. Pulled the engine and transmission out. Pulled all the rear suspension and everything out of it. Took it over to the same guy that did the media blasting on the body. He media blasted the whole frame. We rinsed out the rails, tilted the frame up real high and rinsed out all the crap and the crud out of the rails. You would not realize how much junk is inside these things. So anyway, got all that stuff out and brought it home. And then I used the Eastwood inner frame rust encapsulator. It's a little aerosol can. Comes with about a 2-foot long hose with a nozzle on the end, so it sprays out all around inside the frame. So I taped off the holes that I wasn't going to be using the hose through, so it wouldn't be spraying out all over the place. So I taped off all those holes, put the nozzles in there, and just pulled it through the frame all the way up on both sides. Did the transmission mount also. I put 2 coats of that in the inside of the frame. And then I used the Eastwood chassis black and had the frame upside down first. Well, no, right side up first. And I painted the top of the frame. Now, here's an interesting thing you want to always be sure to do is whenever you're painting, always check your air pressure at the regulator. Because if you don't, you're gonna do what I did, and I had sprayed the body down with the epoxy primer, and then I sprayed the underside of the body with the lizard skin, and the lizard skin is you use a higher pressure, and so I had set my regulator at the higher pressure. And then when I came out to spray this, I did not check my regulator. And, well, let's put it this way. There's a quart of paint just on the top of this frame rail. I was blowing through paint faster than anything. Anyway, I realized that was where I screwed up. And so when I rolled the frame over, I did 2 coats of the paint on the top of the frame rail, flipped the frame upside down, made sure I was using the right pressure, and then I painted the bottom and the sides and got 2 coats of it on that, and everything's all nice and painted and no more rust. Hallelujah. Anyway, so now once I get the lead work done on that body, I'm gonna sling a little mud on it just to get it close to where I want it to be, and then I'm going to put the frame underneath the body. I got all the suspension pieces here to put all this all together, and then once I get the frame underneath there, I'll mount all this. I'm taking the rear end in to get it narrowed a little bit because it's just about 3 inches too wide. So I'll have it narrowed. Get the rear end in it. I'm going to use the factory springs because, well, they're not broke. Don't replace them. And I got the new buttons that go inside the spring pack. So it should ride pretty good. And yeah, hopefully by springtime the body be on there all nice bolted down, and I'll have the doors fit. The trunk lid, I already fit that, so that should just be a matter of bolting it back on after I do a little hammer and dolly work on some of the holes. Anyway, and then I can redo the, mount the fenders and the hood and all the fun, tedious crap. So, anywho, well, we'll just keep on going on, and I do definitely recommend using this Fat Man kit. It's not cheap, but I'll bet you just this front section weighs almost as much as the rest of that frame. It is very well built. It's solid, and it's square, and it's dead bang on as far as measurements are concerned. So it's well worth the money. Anyway, all right, we'll just keep on keeping on.